Hello, this is Randy Wooden, and this is From the Wooden Desk. I'm so glad that you joined me today, and I encourage you to pull up a chair, and I pray that something is shared is going to make an impact and help you put something else in your toolbox that is needful and give you the ability to do leadership in a greater measure of effectiveness. We've been talking about it. This is episode 2 in an area that I believe is essential for every leader, and that is the importance of preparation. I hope you were able in the last session to be able to dialogue some of the questions that we ended with and asking the questions about how that you're preparing for tomorrow and how far are you preparing ahead for. And ultimately, do you prepare for things or do you just wait for them to happen? I hope that you are someone who's preparing. And if not, and if that's not a habit in your toolbox, so to speak, I think we have got to stop a moment and say, if we're not doing this, we are going to greatly affect our ability to be effective and to produce results that we're wanting to see produced. And I think that is very important. Thank God that sometimes God does put people around us who are very plan oriented, and we're not that type of person, and they're able to help us. And if you're a person who just absolutely can't do it or doesn't want to do it, you're going to have some people around you. But there are some things you can't help but do for yourself, whether it's your family and planning for your family and planning, especially if you're a speaker, and what you do in your preparation is so important. So with that all said, I want you to indulge me for a moment as I promise to address the importance of preparation. But I want to discuss in this leadership topic for a moment, and if you'll give me just a little latitude, I want to first talk about what was a childhood nursery rhyme that really bothered me. And I'm going to just share that one with you. A lot of you know the Humpty Dumpty story that you had heard when you were a child. But this always disturbed me when it said, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Now, every one of you know that, but you say, well, what does this have to do with anything? Well, it has a lot to do with everything. In that, as I began to advance in ministry, I soon identified what perplexed me so much about this common childhood rhyme. Obviously, Humpty Dumpty required some preparation and some assistance, perhaps a ladder or a rope to get up on the top of this very high wall. Yet, in the story, we realize that some uncontrollable circumstances must have happened that caused him to fall. But there was no preparation made. I mean, he could have lost balance, or a strong wind could have come, a swarm of birds or something could have knocked him out of his position, if you will. But he didn't make any preparation to maintain a position and to protect him against the very serious risk of falling. With so much at stake, how could he just have a great fall? Granted, I'm probably taking this a little bit too far and analyzing it too much. But it's an example of one of those things that bugs me more than it probably should, in the sense is, however, this is simply reinforces what I am going to share today. And that is admittedly in a very elementary way, that a lesson that I consider to be one of the most important in leadership and in mentorship today, that all successful leaders embrace the principle of preparation. Those who do ministry and organizational management with excellence are those leaders who don't just prepare when they arrive, but they are those who are prepared many a times, many days in advance, and long-term significance to inspire others through their preparation and leadership. Many would see the principle of preparation as so basic to be worthy of serious dialogue. But I would argue with you to tell you, especially among leaders who, like Humpty Dumpty, have arrived. They're sitting on a high wall. And sooner or later, if they are not prepared, they are going to have a great fall. Wow. But this critical learning may be indeed some of the most basic, but yet it is impactful not to forget, and yet taken for granted by many leaders to advance their leadership and their leadership roles around them. Well, in addition, many who are in today's leadership roles, the more important, even tomorrow's leaders, are falling into what I call the preparation booby traps. Critical areas that are overlooked for preparation, importance. And they're not realizing that they're able to even reduce stress by having this area of preparation in all the areas of their life and in their organizational package. Let's get to the obvious outcome of all of this. In today's fast-paced climate, preparation is a fundamental and yet vital function for ministry success and organizational leadership. The timeless, adage still stands is success is where preparation and opportunity meet. Preparation plus planning equals success. I just done a series or 4 episodes upon this thought process of strategic planning. But really, right behind strategic planning has got to be preparation, because they go hand in hand. And yet your best guarantee to success is preparation. How you prepare yourself. Work, preparation equals success and confidence. And yet the list goes on and on. See, I challenge you today. I challenge you to do the opposite. To consider the last time that you employed one of these preparation principles that I'm going to share. The point of preparation is argumentally the most important principle for success, as I have said over and over during this session. And sadly, yet the first to be neglected by many leaders who arrive. I'm going to ask some questions, or I'm going to make some statements that I really believe that we cannot, and these are really 6 aspects of preparation and preparation principles that I think are key to our lives and leadership. I'm going to share the first one, then I'll probably cut and go to the next episode with the rest of them. But the first one is be prepared by knowing your people and your ministry. Know your team, your people that you lead. Do you know them? And the larger audience is a simple principle that we never lose that significance of knowing the people that are around us. Successful leaders invest time to at least think about the best research intensely upon who their audience is. Their bosses, their subordinates, their peers, their customers, if you will, even their partners, their membership in a church setting. Before the word is uttered or exchange takes place, you, I believe, can rest assured that a successful leader has gone through the mental tango, so to speak, in their minds of determining the most appropriate and effective stance for engaging with others. Have you done that? See, I believe the proven rule for communicating and engaging effectively with others is to deliver information the way others need to receive it. That's one of the things that I've done in personality profiling and getting teams to understand one another is not everybody receives information the same way, nor do they communicate it the same way. But it's important that we prepare to know one another. See, I think some of the failure in leadership is we don't take time to see the potential, the skill sets in other people, so to delegate and empower them to do things that may be our weaknesses or maybe things that we just don't have time to do that we can do, but they can do them. I think that's very important for us to get a grasp upon that. I think something that might need to take place is at the end of this video is sit down and write down key people, that you need to invest in. Key people around you. Have you prepared to know your team? How do you do that? Ask questions. Ask what they love. Ask what they're passionate about. Talk about their philosophy of ministries or organization. And begin to capture who they are within the scope of your leadership. The same thing is so many times after pastoring 36 years is just taking and having that cup of coffee, listening to someone else's story. That is preparing me to know better how to have a relationship with that individual. People is what we do. I mean, most organizations are geared around meeting the need of people or meeting the need of a leader or whatever it may be. But I think it's so important for all of us to recognize this. So the first step of preparation is preparing yourself to know those around you. Do you know them? If you don't, write them down on a list and then begin to schedule some time. Schedule a retreat. Schedule a day. Begin to ask questions. Begin to learn the people that God has placed in your life so that you can give them and prepare to give them what they need so they can go where God has ordained them to go in your organization. I think that may sound very simple, but it is yet so very key. We're going to continue the series of these steps in our next episode. I pray this is being a blessing to you, and it's my prayer today that God will enlarge the kingdom in you and around you. God bless and have a great day. Look forward to seeing you in the next session.